Welcome to Pat's Cast, the unofficial podcast of the Regina Pats. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
And this is episode 1.
To the line and it comes out. Curtis Miskey pocket pick Weiger. Breakaway shorthanded shoots and he scores. Austin Weiger, his first shorty of the year. Brooks works it out to center ice to himself on the foot side. Brooks into the offensive zone center for Weiger to the goal. Shoots and he scores. Austin Weiger's got his second shorty of the period. The Pats are up ice. Lecision shorthanded to the goal. Trying to jam it in and he does. Jake Lecision. 2 shorties on 1 PK. Bradley goes forehand and scores. Oh, what a move to the lane from Matt Bradley. Rips it in.
All right, everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of Pat's Cast. Today, we are going to be doing a season review of the 17-18 season. Chris and I think we both agree this was definitely a season of 2 halves. The first being up until the Christmas break, which was, for lack of a better word, bad.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was rough. We ended, so December 27th, we had a 16-8-3 record. We both agree those. If it's 16-8-3, you're basically 16-21. So well below 500. Things were not looking good. Chris, you weren't at this game. December 16th against Lethbridge. It was horrible. That was one of the darkest times of this season I think I'd ever seen. That team had no fight. We got absolutely waxed. I think the only reason people stayed in the stands was it was an autograph night. And it was actually, I forget who was doing it, but I think it was some pretty marquee players. I didn't stick around to get autographs, but I imagine that was a pretty tough time for them to face those fans.
Yeah, I just remember you texting me saying people were leaving the stands with 5 minutes to go in the second period.
Yeah.
I was
like,
oh,
it was
wow.
ugly. It was ugly. I think it was a representation of how people were feeling about the team at that time. I even think back to the first game, that first game in Brandon. I pulled up the score. I just see 8-1.
Yeah.
And I looked at it a little bit closer. I was like, pardon me?
Yeah,
We got beat 8-1. And I started to think, wow, okay, I know it's early, first game, Sam Steele, Mahura all out of the picture, but
yeah,
really,
that's a rough opening night for the team that's hosting the Memorial Cup this year. You know, you expect.
Well, after the year before, we were beating teams like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
right?
that too. Yeah,
So,
exactly. Right. But we rebounded next game at home against Brandon, and
we did. And then I thought, okay, things will be okay. Things didn't get much better. It was boy. We were sitting there, and this is my first year with season tickets. I mean, our opening day lineup. I'm going to read this to you. So, first line: Emil Oxen and Matt Bradley, George King. That's your first line. Second line: Brady and Buziak, Morisseau, Jeff DeWitt. Third line: Robbie Holmes, Wyatt Slobosian, Brian Lochner. That's not a bad line. Third line: Duncan Pierce, Logan Nyhoff, Bryce Platt. Our starting, I think the offense wasn't horrible at the start of the season. It was the defense was suspect. You have Liam Scholler, Dawson Davidson, Zamula, Jonathan Smart, Owen Williams, and Gavlis.
yeah, a bunch of young guys there at the end. So
Yeah.
getting their feet wet at the first
Yeah.
start of season here.
And we kept saying, oh, well, Sam Steele, Nick Henry, Mahura. No,
Yeah,
they're not
back.
here. They're coming back. It'll get better. It didn't get terribly better.
No.
I do want to talk Matt Bradley.
Oh, without a doubt, he carried the team the first half of the season.
Yeah,
Steele didn't look great after coming back from Anaheim Ducks camp.
No.
It took him a while to get going, and then he's gone again to World Juniors, and
Right.
So it was tough WHL first half of the season for him.
Right.
Definitely.
But Matt Bradley, easily MVP of the first half.
Yeah, hands down.
I don't know where we would have been. We could have been 5 or 6 games less in the wins column.
Yeah,
I think without him.
Mhm.
Definitely earned the A for that first half of the season. So where did this team change? I mean, Matt Bradley came preseason
Yeah,
from Medicine Hat.
It was shortly after last year.
Right.
Traded Hollett for him.
So we got him, a 2018 second round, and a 19 fifth round for Hollett.
Yeah,
Looking back,
that's not bad. For
decent trade.
Yeah, for a goalie that hadn't played that much.
Yeah,
You know,
and we're doing okay in the goaltender, situation now. So
yeah. Well, Paddock had played a couple games last year as well, so we knew we had a young guy that was capable. We just, you never know with the team being so strong, you never know how good your goalie really is.
Right.
And he stepped in this year, and he's played
absolutely
wonderful this year. So they knew that they had a good goalie there, so that's what Hollett made was expendable.
Right. The next move earlier in the season, Sidaway from Kootenay for Jeff DeWitt.
Yeah, just getting younger there, right?
Right.
Looking for not only this year but next year. It was a little surprising at first as Jeff DeWitt had a really good preseason.
Yeah.
He was leading the team in goals and points and stuff.
And really, you haven't seen production from Sidaway. We hope to.
Yeah, well, he'll be here next year.
Yeah, he'll be here. Maybe a lateral move, you could call it, just getting younger. Then they brought in Fleury. Paid a lot for it. Jonathan Smart, Cole Meare, a second round in 2018, and a sixth round in 2019, and then a conditional.
Yeah, quite a bit for a guy that at first we weren't sure about. He's not on. He wasn't on the.
He was their captain, so you're expecting a lot.
He wasn't on the World Junior radar. I didn't hear much about him that wise, so he wasn't a top tier defenseman. So you're
right.
like, oh, we gave up quite a bit for maybe a second tier defenseman, but he's come in and played excellent. Like he's stabilized.
He wasn't flashy at the start.
No, he's definitely not flashy.
No,
but he's stable and he can move the puck well. And he can rush it. He doesn't rush it like Mahura does, but he comes in and makes good plays. Plays some solid physical D in his own zone.
It took a while for me to kind of see his potential, but when it's there, it's there, and he is a dominant force. Excellent player. It'd be fantastic to have him back next year. Probably not.
Yeah, with him being signed, it's most unlikely.
Yeah, like most of our team.
Yeah.
I believe this was a little bit earlier before the trade deadline as well. Was Jared Legion from Victoria, for Braden Buziak?
Yeah, he came. I think after the Christmas break. He's a local guy. He's playing in Victoria. Sounded like his ice time wasn't up to his liking, so it sounded like he didn't want to go back to Victoria. Wanted to stay.
Sound
closer.
like he came with some baggage.
Possibly, yeah.
Maybe why I got him for cheap.
Yeah, he wanted. I think maybe he wanted to play a little closer to home. So we flipped Buziak for him, and
yeah.
I seen some reaction on Twitter from Victoria fans saying, "Oh, why are we getting rid of this 20-goal scorer for a third, fourth liner?" But when he's in the lineup, he is good. But he wasn't in the lineup consistently for whatever reason.
And that's
we don't know.
We don't know why, right? Because when he scores goals.
Yeah, he's a consistent goal scorer every time he's in the game.
Is it behavior, dressing room, clash with the coach?
Maybe lack
Who knows, right?
Effort,
it's too bad.
Practice or whatever. But
it's
you
too
see
bad.
he's got the skill.
He has a wicked shot. But so wrapping up, the first half of the season, not looking good. Thinking, boy, are we even going to make the playoffs? Are we even going to be in? Is it unprecedented for a team that's hosting? Not if they miss the playoffs, do they even get to play? Right? Like, is it going to be a whole new thing? The CHL is going to have to figure out. And the media was on them. It was rough. That December 16th game, Rob Vanstone wrote about that, how people were leaving. John Paddock was commenting. They noticed people were leaving the building in the second period. Yeah, this wasn't after the 50-50 normal exodus. This is before, and it was a tough time. And then what happened? Christmas break happened. This team came back. They made these changes. We can start with Austin Pratt from Red Deer. We gave up 2019 third-round pick for him.
Yeah, he comes in, some size,
Mm-hmm.
Paddock said he wants to get tougher. Like, we got pushed around in that Seattle final last year.
Yeah.
He wanted a little more size, a little more toughness.
We get Hayek from Saskatoon. Gave up Dawson Davidson, Tristan Robbins, and a 2019 first-round draft pick for Hayek.
Yeah, that's expensive, but you can see his skill. He's another Mahura type. Moves the puck well, has excellent shot, runs the power play.
Also from Saskatoon, Hebig Kubik. Gave up a lot here too. Tyler Brown, Brian Lochner. 2020 first and second round. 2019 third round. 2021 third round. That's mortgaging your future.
Yeah, that's some high-end picks. So, but they really wanted Hebig. Paddock was in love with him.
When you look at this trade, did you think how similar is it to the package that came from Lethbridge? You have a goalie, some goal scorers. Do you think they were ever in talk with Lethbridge to get Skinner and Estefan?
Possibly. I heard conflicting reports from different people. Some people said, yeah, they were in talks with him or with Lethbridge. And then I heard from another person saying, no, they weren't as maybe interested as we had beaten Skinner 2 years in a row in the playoffs. So, but you never know, right? So that's all hearsay out there on the street.
Yeah, it just, that both teams were selling. We needed both those things. I wonder.
Yeah,
I wonder.
With both teams, Swift Current and us, being stuck with that 20-year-old goalie, that's a tough spot you're in, right? So you after that trade came down, we thought, okay, maybe we moved Brown to get rid of the 20-year-old goalie, and then we moved Kubik maybe for somebody else, a 19-year-old goalie.
Yeah.
Because the 20-year-old trade was Brown for Hebig. Like that was the deal there, right? So we have to pick up Kubik because we need a goalie back.
Yeah.
It wasn't Brown for Kubik. Like that's, people kind of got caught up, oh, is Kubik better than Brown? Well, that wasn't the trade. The trade was Brown for Hebig, and Paddock really wanted Hebig, and we can see why.
Absolutely.
He has been phenomenal since he's been here.
Totally. Yeah. And then we pick up Hyman from Seattle.
Yeah,
guy we got to see last year. I kind of made fun of him out there on the ice. He does look a little gangly. I got to see him a little bit more now that since he joined us. He's a good at-home player. Like he was never really a liability out there.
No, he looks good out there. We gave up a 7th round or something like that.
No, a bit more. 2019 second.
Oh, a second.
And Owen Williams.
Okay, so that was the Puto deal. That was the 7th rounder.
Right. So that's the one I want to get to now. Puto from Lethbridge, a 19 7th round. Probably the biggest steal.
Yeah.
Out of all these trades.
He's been really good. He's solid. He's come back
to give up a
Pats.
7th. Yeah.
I don't really recall him when he was with us the first time around. He's a young guy, and then we traded him to Lethbridge, and then we get him back here, and he's been really solid. I've really liked his game.
Absolutely. He stood out in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He looked fantastic out there. So those are the changes we made. And where did we get? We ended up with a 40, 25, and 6 record. We essentially went 24 and 10 after the Christmas break. So not even some of it was without these players.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back at it, I didn't realize we were doing that well at the time because every loss was still, I think it was just everything was so hyper focused on it, and any loss was so right. with the Memorial Cup. So any bad loss or anything was just, it seemed maybe worse than it was. Yeah. It wasn't until I was kind of counting these up and we went that. And we were keeping the second half of the season. You're keeping pace with Swift Current, Moose Jaws, right? Like,
so they were consistently in the top 5 in the CHL. So we played them very well down the stretch. And then once the trade deadline passes, guys know that they're going to be here. I couldn't imagine what it feels like to be in that room before the trade deadline. Are you going to be here? Are you not? Especially
and I remember
with us having the Memorial Cup, it's magnified that much more.
Right.
Other years, you might get traded, you might not, but it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Until this year where, everybody in that room knows that we're hosting the Cup and am I going to be on the team? So
yeah.
And Paddock even said that a little bit of pressure's off them now that the team is set, the roster's set, and we can just go out and worry about playing hockey and getting better.
It was fun hockey that second half of the season, going to those games, watching the team start to gel. It took a little while. You know, there were some games you think, oh boy, they're not getting together. Paddock consistent. I mean, he'll probably always do it with whatever team. He changes the lineup every night during the game. Like,
yeah. Well, with all those new players, he had to. Last year, he was pretty consistent in the lines, but this year, yeah, with all those new guys, you're always trying something. And when they were down, it was always just like in a blender. Like there was just guys rolling with other guys. You know, he'd start the game with certain lines, and then then we're down a goal or two, and then you'd see Steele and Hebig together, and you'd see them split up, and so just trying to get everybody going, right? You got all these games here. It's just a warm up, really. These games are just a warm up for the playoffs and the Memorial Cup. It doesn't matter how well we do or how well we don't do, but just trying to find some chemistry, some team chemistry there.
So wrapping up the season, we have that what was a 5 or 6 game road trip during the Brier. Didn't they win every game?
Yeah, they swept
on that. Yeah, right. And come back, play Swift on a home and home. Those games. That was some of the most intense, crazy hockey I'd ever seen.
Yeah, the game here was unreal. All the hits, fights. It was
like backyard, no holds barred hockey.
Yeah.
Like it was a little nuts. It was fun to be at as a fan, but looking back, I didn't find that energy carried over to the playoffs in the same sense. Like the intensity did, but it wasn't the same. The physicality wasn't there.
Yeah, not quite as much. Guys are trying to tone it down. You don't want to take so many penalties, like you see in how many penalties in that game, and it was controlled energy, like
right. So rolling into the playoffs, we can go on about the format, how much it sucks that we have to play Swift Current in the first round. It is what it is. It sounds like it's not changing anytime soon.
No. Paddock even said they had discussions and they're fine with it. So, they want to build up the local rivalries, the division rivalries, and try to keep the travel down.
Right. And now that it's been a few weeks, it was good hockey.
Oh yeah,
it was a ton of fun to be at and see that first round. Like, that was intense hockey for first round. Last year, I didn't even see the games. It was over before you knew it.
Yeah.
Swept Calgary, done, on to the next.
Yeah, it was
right?
Nothing.
So,
but, that second round against Swift Current was good.
Right.
So. But.
I didn't see the first game. Listened to a little bit on the radio. Sounded like things just weren't bouncing our way. Came back for game 2. Won game 2, right? So you win game 2.
You get the split on the road.
Okay, we've stolen the home ice advantage. Game 3 in our barn. That came up flat. Yeah, that game was
not good.
That was, I don't know if that was a turning point, but that was an opportunity to seize that series.
Yeah, jump out to the lead at home. Hopefully you can get both wins at home and go back up 3-1.
Go back 3-1, and you just need one more somewhere along the line.
I was a little down after that game. I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if we can do this."
After that, I was worried. That's it. Can we keep up? And it's not even that much of the series that I'm worried about. It's more like Swift Current's representing a team that either they're going to be in the Memorial Cup or they're going to be close. Teams are going to be as good as them, and if we only win one game in this series and we get blown out, Memorial Cup could be ugly.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get embarrassed on the national stage. You don't want to get embarrassed. We've went through all these draft picks. We've given up. We've mortgaged our future for this team. And there again, that doubt creeps in. You think, here we go. Like, this could get ugly.
Yeah.
People could be walking out. Even last year, right? You see Memorial Cup teams getting. Seattle got beat, 8-0. Games, right?
They didn't win a game there. They struggled.
Doesn't look good. But then we put some games together, right?
Oh, yeah, game 4, big win at home.
Yeah.
And we finally got the offense clicking, scored a bunch of goals, right?
Yeah. In this series, who didn't show up, in your opinion? For me, Sam Steele, we saw him in the last couple games start to kind of do what he can do. But he, in the first few games, he was not there.
Yeah, he wasn't,
man. Like,
a little inconsistent this year. I don't know if it. Not saying that he couldn't handle carrying the team, but we had such balanced offense last year with two really, really good lines. I don't know if he's just trying to do too much or not, but I mean, like, they tried to, when they had Hebig with him, they were always looking for each other, and it didn't seem like they were doing enough themselves, and they split them up, and then Hebig would play better instead of always trying to look for Steele, that he can do his own thing, use his skill level. But yeah, he was a little inconsistent this year.
Who stood out for you in the playoffs? Buto, Hebig.
Yeah,
we were one. Hebig is one fan shot, I think, away from winning that game in Swift.
Yeah, we had this. Yeah, the cross ice pass.
Yeah,
he had some net there and just mistimed it.
Yeah,
maybe Mahura was a little bit of a disappointment. It seemed like, I don't know, the power play wasn't clicking either, and he's the first guy out there. And I would have liked to see maybe Hayek a little more, even down the stretch on the first power play unit. But then he got hurt.
So right, and that was another thing. Like, going into this series, I mean, it's playoffs, you don't get any news. Oh, Max Paddock's hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Gabriel's hurt.
Yeah, and then Oxen's out.
Right? We just seemed like we couldn't... All this... I mean, the team obviously knew from whatever... I don't know when Paddock got hurt, how early in that week.
Yeah, because he played the second last game, the game at home here against Swift Current. And then he was on the bench for the final game, and Kubik was in his first game back from injury.
Right.
He has to get some time or get some game action before the playoffs hit, and you're thinking, okay, yeah, he needs a game, and he'll be backing up because it looks like Paddock's hot right now. And then
I would imagine the plan was to go with Paddock the whole way.
Yeah, I would think so. And then all of a sudden, boom, Kubik starting, and we...
First playoff game.
And
haven't
Paddock
played in how long?
Yeah, and then Paddock's scratched. He's not even backing up, he's scratched.
You got Dumba.
Yeah, you got signed a new guy, and all of a sudden he's backing up. So, but that's what it is. That tests your team depth.
But in the end, Kubik wasn't
the
liability or anything. So, that wasn't what changed this.
Yeah, he definitely didn't lose the series or anything for us. We just weren't as consistent as we should have been. Like we had some.
Well, once we figured out stay out of the box. I mean, we're a terrible team for that for the last couple of years, but once you figure that out, the games went a lot better.
Swift Current's power play was so hot; it was just ridiculous. They scored over half their goals on the power play in the series.
Yeah.
So, and I said, Game 7, if we stay out of the box, we win the game. Well, we stayed out of the box, but we lost by 1. So.
That was the only really close, good game out of the series, though. It was a funny series in that it seemed like one team didn't show up one night.
Yeah, it was
one or the other team.
It was back and forth.
That was the only game where both teams seemed to play really good.
Yeah.
But Game 7, you have Hayek out, Oxenden out. Gabriel's playing, but
wasn't playing full percentage. He was definitely just out there, just because we needed a body.
And then, going back to Legion, he didn't play Game 7, did he?
No, he was in there. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, it was
okay.
Him and Nyhoff drew in.
Right, Nyhoff gets his first
game of this year.
So I mean, all in all, did the better team win? Probably at least Game 7, the better team won. It was so close, but I mean, we noticed a few mistakes. The one goal, Steenbergen scored. Jake Lasician's coasting in.
Holmes. That was Holmes coasting in. Yeah, he didn't back check as hard as he probably could have, and Steenbergen just jumps on that puck and
you can't let him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how close it was. Either that or the Hebig.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a fan. It was just mistimed.
Yeah.
And it could have easily been we could be playing Moose Jaw, and the way that series is going, Moose Jaws, they're beatable.
Yeah, they don't look as good as we maybe thought they would look. Not really watching a ton of them, but mind you, down the stretch, we played right with them with those 3-4 games in a row that we did.
Yeah,
we played well against them.
So here we are. Season's over. We've got
for now, anyways.
46 days they had till Memorial Cup.
Yeah. So they got a week off. Straight up, go do whatever you want.
Right.
Head home.
You said Hayek went home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the injury situation, they released all the information after that. Yeah. Paddock had a hip issue. Oxen was just out with sickness.
Mm-hmm. Flu.
And then Hayek, they said whatever, concussion. And
meanwhile, he played the rest of the game that concussion happened in.
Yeah, and he scored a nice goal.
And he scored a really nice goal. So whoever is checking that out.
Well, that can always come later. You see guys come back, and then it kind of, whatever happens,
yeah.
Right? So, but, and Paddock said that everybody's going to be fine. Everybody's going to be ready to go for Memorial Cup. Nothing's going to be long-term, so.
I mean, the question is, how do you prepare? What do you do?
Yeah, that's the question on everybody's mind right now. Last year, Windsor had the same thing, and they got it done. Sounds like they did a bunch of off-ice training. They had some injuries as well. They got healthy, did a bunch of off-ice stuff. Really got in shape, There's game shape and then there's like physical shape, and it sounds like they really went hard off ice for a while and then got back on the ice.
I mean, it's an intense tournament. You got to play. You have to play those games hard. You only have 3 games. You got to prove yourself.
It's a tournament. It's not a 7-game series. You can't take a game off. You can't take a period off.
No.
You lose a game, you might not make that semifinal.
Mm-hmm.
You can only hope that you make it into a tiebreaker. It's a short tournament, so you gotta be on your game from the first puck drop here. We get the first game, so we gotta be ready to go that Friday night.
Absolutely. That being said, it's been kind of enjoyable watching WHL hockey without the fanatic stress that I go through when my team's in it. We went to the first game in Moose Jaw. It's fun to watch 2 good teams and going at it. I mean, that's great hockey. How many overtime games have they been in now? Following the other leagues, the other games in the WHL, watching out west. I mean, everyone kind of thinks, whoever wins Moose Jaw Swift Current, they're going to be the representative of the dub. But, I mean, you got Everett and Tri-Cities. There's good teams out there too. Yeah,
Tri-City's rolling. Sounds like they had some injury problems. They were in the wild card. They moved across.
They haven't lost a game yet.
And they've rolled through the BC division. Yeah. Winner, Kelowna, and then Victoria. 8 straight.
You got Everett coming with Carter Hart.
Yeah. Nothing
slows down in offense like a hot goalie. So.
Yeah, and they've got some better scoring this year. They made a couple of trades to get some scores. They're always defensive. Now with a new coach, they still have that defensive strategy. Not strategy, but they still have that defensive mindset that they're good defensive. But now they got some scores. They can score. You see they put up quite a few goals against Portland. So, they're looking pretty decent. So I think that's going to be quite a good matchup in the West. That'd be an interesting one to keep an eye on.
Good. So, it's given us some time to look at these teams and prepare some information for you guys. That's hopefully what we'll be doing next is Memorial Cup preview. Go over the Pats again. We're going to look at all the other representatives of the leagues, bringing that to you when all these leagues wrap up in a couple of weeks here. Anything else you want to add?
Hit us up on Twitter at WHLPatsCast.
Yeah,
some suggestions and
follow us and get to us. We definitely want fan interaction on this podcast. Really, anything you guys want to know, we'll try and bring into this show. Anything else?
No, I think that's good, and we'll see you closer to the Memorial Cup.
Good. All right, see you guys.